No, I absolutely find that there is a light at the end of the tunnel now. Since 1970, we have seen upstream FIDs averaging roughly 40 per year. 2016 was very slow with only kind of 10 awards. We're seeing a very good pickup now in 2017. I've of course seen the full statistics where costs are being cut by 30 to 40%. That's of course very positive for future field developments. But before we can really see the projects being sanctioned, the oil companies need to get full comfort that the cost cutting will be sustainable. Being here at a conference like this is also important for me, speaking directly to suppliers, to contractors, to oil companies. This gives me also a great comfort that at least, I would say 25% at least on the cost cuttings will be sustainables. That will help a lot for the oil companies to actually sanction the projects. And also, of course, oil price seems like it has stabilized around $50 or 50 to 55. It is very positive. So we have now, of course, seen the much greater discipline among most of the OPEC countries. But also, I think it's positive to see US shale producers focusing more on return on capital employed than, say, production, for example. So positive.
Thank you.
No, for the industry to kind of continue preparing for the recovery now, I see that there is a very good now interconnection between suppliers and the contractors and the oil companies. I think that's a very positive trend, and I just will recommend them to continue. Of course, we have to follow the ordinary tender processes, but being a little bit more flexible during tenders, not having too much of rigid structures, being open to discuss more kind of alternative solutions. I think that will be positive. And also, of course, prepare for the financing. A lot of work has been done to prepare the equity for new projects through partnerships with infrastructure funds, equity funds, and etc. But now it's time also to make sure that the companies can finance it through debt financing. Long-term debt will be very important for the companies. No, yes, in the intermediate term, I would say that the FPSO industry is now finally, I would say, starting to see the positive signs. Long term, I would expect, say, 5 to 10 awards per year. But let's say already from next year, we'll probably see 5 awards. So I think it's a positive tone in the industry. But kind of there are still some challenges. I think a big challenge here is that there are few tenders in the market. So a lot of the suppliers are working on the same tenders. So there will be a lot of disappointment still in the industry, but kind of just keeping in there, hang in there, and they will kind of the market will improve going forward. Another challenge is also let's say financing of the oil fields, as I discussed a little bit, because Petrobras has not been able to really finance and sanction projects so much lately. But we are now seeing Petrobras getting back in the industry and starting to sanction projects again. That's of course very positive for the industry. Another element here is the small and mid-cap oil companies. They have had excellent fields, very good reserves, good field development plans, but it's hard for them to actually finance the projects. So for the banks, for the industry, for the ECAs and for the funds to support the industry, work together with companies and finance the projects, that will be important.